en tu honor. ¿Por qué en mi honor? Porque eres la cuarta.
En mates nos hace falta la regla.
Esto es alucinante. La mitad del rollo de tener poderes es creértelo.
How are you, Zoe?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I read Jason Blum asked you personally for a pitch for the movie. Did they keep your original idea for the movie, or did it change? Was it always a continuation? Was it remake at some point? How was that process?
No, it didn't change from the pitch, really, which is a testament to Blumhouse because they really do put their filmmakers first in terms of preserving their visions. And it was always intended, to be a continuation. So, I think I was tasked with something that was intimidating but exciting, which was to create something that could pay homage to the first film, but also really stand on its own. And so the continuation was a part of my navigating that fine line.
And what did you know you had to keep from the original, and what did you think it needed to change to reflect our time?
Well, I loved in the original, the idea of the weirdos being heroes and seeing young women step into their power, and sort of reclaim their singularity in the face of so much adversity. I think something that I wanted to update was that the women in the original end up using their power against each other. And I really, from my first sort of iteration of this reimagining, was very clear that on a macro level was something that I wanted to shift, and that this story should be about young women uplifting and upholding each other and learning that their power is not too overwhelming for them to harness. And in fact, it's at its greatest strength when it's being used in community.
I've read the original movie holds a very special place in your life and in your adolescence. It's the same for me. As a gay teen outcast, I felt very connected to it. How do you think this sequel can affect young people, and especially young girls today?
Well, I hope that, there's a motif throughout the film, which is said a number of times: your difference is your power. And I think the reason why the first film resonated to so many of us, you and I included, is because we were othered, right? And we're so often taught that difference is something that should be surrounded with shame, and that should lead us to isolation. And I think the message that I was looking to put into the universe is that that difference is what makes you so special. And that difference is what we all need to be celebrating, because it is so powerful. And it is so powerful also when that difference is really like celebrated in a collective, so that we can all be celebrating each other's differences.
With your first film, Band-Aid, lovely film, by the way,
Thank
and
you.
now The Craft, you recruited an all-women crew. How does that affect the creative process and the outcome of the movie for you?
Well, it was one of the most, if not like the most nourishing creative processes of my career. It was incredible to be surrounded by exclusively women on a set. I had been an actor, writer, and producer for many years prior to directing Band-Aid, and I was so aware of just the lack of representation when it came to gender equity behind the camera and below the line. And it just seemed that there was so much talk around changing that, but that it wasn't changing. And it still is a really stubborn thing to shift in our industry, in many industries, but ours included. So yeah, it was incredible to have so many women in one room, most of whom had only had the experience of being the only woman on a set. We're now one of a huge group. And so I think that sense of empowerment to really have agency over your decisions, to not have to explain yourself or be questioned or doubted or condescended to, was so incredibly moving for all of us. And a number of those women I brought with me to the craft legacy, my DP, my editor, my producing partner, and my production designer. So there were a lot of women heading departments on the craft legacy, which was really important to me as well.
Tiene razón. La regla número 1 de la brujería es: si una persona es un peligro para ella misma o para los demás, se la desligará.
Ya estaba preocupada.
Perdona, he salido con mis amigas. Nos hemos pasado.
¿Pero es que esto para ti es un juego?